World Series like they did in 10 and 11, if you're an Astros fan, would you root against them?
Oh, yeah, they would.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's like we're in the Big 12. Why wouldn't Oklahoma fans want Texas to win the Big 12 championship or win the national championship? No,
I've never,
you don't.
I never
vice versa.
I hosted a radio show with a different human being before I hosted one with you. I know it doesn't seem like that because it's been so long, but one time we had it, and it was outside of the matchup with Al Qaeda. I'm sorry, not doing it.
Yeah, and it's weird because there is this like almost hypocritical stance that you are. It's like I live in Texas, so I have to be a Cowboys fan.
No, you don't.
No, I am who I have been since I was 5. But back to this, there is no way if Texas A&M was playing for the national championship that Longhorn fans would want them to win the game.
No
way, and vice versa, and Oklahoma, and maybe everybody else in the conference.
I watched that game in 2005 with the Longhorn, with the Texas X's at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, and when they won, I left. I couldn't be around it. Like, they're nice people. I'm not saying they're not, but I just couldn't be around it because, again, you grew up rooting against a team.
No, you can't.
You don't want him to win. Like, look, Matthew Izzetti is one of my best friends in the world. He's a diehard Yankee fan. If the Yankees win the World Series again, I'm not going to be happy for him. Right. Like, he wasn't happy for me when the Red Sox won.
By the way, John Machota just put this
me.
up. Stephen Jones on 105.3 The Fan, the flagship, said Van Der Esch has looked really good in practice, a chance to get significant playing time. Today was the long practice. And they've also been very happy with what they've seen with Randy Gregory. Now, they still have to make decisions on the roster. But I was curious about the Twitter reaction, and it's about 50-50. It really is.
Well, I think because you've got half Astros fans and half non-Astros fans, it's a nice little mix. There's a lot of Astros fans in the Baylor fan base. As a Rangers fan, what does the Astros winning another World Series do to me?
No.
What does it do? It does absolutely. It changes nothing except for they can brag about winning another World Series. I mean, dunking on the Rangers fans who are fun to dunk on. I mean, nothing's changed. They still have 0 World Series. You know what I mean? So it's not that big a deal. In college, though, that's completely different. Why would you root for Texas to win so they can go get the recruits that you want or go get even better recruits and then dominate the conference and then kick your ass? No, you don't want any of those things. So college, there's a lot more of an impact overall when you go when that team goes and wins a championship versus in the pros. In the pros, it's just they want another championship, really.
Yeah. Well, if I'm a coach and – especially for a team that is not in contention for the national championship. And I'm going to go after those guys who are, Texas or whoever the national championship team in my conference is. So, the national champions play in our conference. And if you come play for us, you can play against them.
You can get beat by them, too. I mean what is that? Yeah. No,
hey, Paul, go ahead, Craig.
No, I was just saying, it's pros in college, it's a different game. And the thing with the Astros, I'm just indifferent about it because, like I said, as a Rangers fan, what am I going to do about it? Like, there's nothing to say.
Will you dial up Tyler Holcomb? I know you have a recorded segment with him. The Taps today came out with something, and I guess it was under my radar.
Can we do that after a break?
Yeah, no, it has to be.
Okay.
Taps football. Announcement regarding the 2020 football brackets and the dates for the championships, and it appears as if it's going to be like an open bracket. Like, there might just be everybody makes the playoffs. Will you see if he can come on with us next?
Yeah.
And then, of course, Grayson Grunhafer today, Sikkim365.com at 3:45. We'll get an update from Tyler Holcomb on what all this is about. Frank Ditta, former Baylor offensive lineman, for a guard at 4. Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports on Vegas in the games this weekend, 4:25. Then Temple Scott Stewart. Kevin Gogan, former Cowboys and offensive lineman with the Raiders at 5:30. This is Sikkim 365 Radio, and we're live from Cougar Stadium in Gerald, Texas.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. The kickoff savings event continues on right now. All 2020 vehicles on their lot are priced to move. Man, you can get it all. A smooth, quiet ride in a first-class interior matched with power and durability with the GMC Sierra, the best truck on the road. During Richard Carr's kickoff savings event, qualified buyers will score $9,000 off a 2020 GMC Sierra at Richard Carr. They also have the 3-row Buick Enclaves, an amazing value in a luxury SUV. During the kickoff savings event, all 2020 3-row Buick Enclaves are $10,000 off, or you can get the versatile and nimble Buick Encore for only $19,900. And maybe you're ready to step up to the ultimate luxury and style of a Cadillac. We'll let Richard Carr bring the Cadillac experience to you with an XT4, XT5, or the full-size 7-passenger Cadillac XT6. and save $2,000. 2020 Cadillac XT4 started only $34,690 at Richard Carr Cadillac. It's the kickoff savings event at Richard Carr. Score huge savings right now on all vehicles in stock. Go to richardcarr.com or come see the deals at Highway 6 and the Imperial Exit, or call and they will bring the test drive to you.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Have you tried a do-it-yourself program to lose weight? You may not know that in a typical do-it-yourself program, a quarter of the weight you lose is due to muscle breakdown and loss. With COVID harming obese and overweight patients, being at ideal body weight is more important now than ever. Over 30 physicians in Central Texas, tired of seeing patients fail at losing weight themselves, opened Muscle-Wise Nutrition. This is a coach-managed weight loss program that targets fat and spares muscle. The 4 Muscle-Wise locations have taken off over 19,000 pounds from Texas dieters in the last few years. The combination of coaching and weekly body composition analysis to target the fat loss are the keys to success. The coaches teach you how to eat and live a healthy lifestyle. Email Sikkim365 at musclewisenutrition.com today, and the coaches will contact you about their free educational seminars. Do not wait. Email today and start MuscleWise at Sikkim365 at musclewisenutrition.com.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Nitsche Group Insurance Agency. With the Nitsche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Nitsche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Nitsche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This high school football segment is sponsored by Southwest Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
All right, it's interesting that I saw this TAPS football note, and I spoke with Jeff Smith. He's now a part of the executive board for TAPS. There are coaches who coach in TAPS that didn't know this.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure this out. But this came down a few minutes ago. And I'm trying to get exactly the do. But we're trying to track down George Teague. Remember, former Cowboy. We had him on. He coaches at a private school. But it appears as if they've just opened up everything. Everybody makes the playoffs.
Then when do they
move
start
everything back towards the middle of December? That's what I'm trying to figure out. But it appears as if they've just opened up.
Well, I mean, look, if you're like Riker lost a game this week, so again, like it. I don't like that they open up the playoffs, but it might be the simplest, the path of least resistance to figuring out who should go and who won't if you're still going to lose games along the way.
All right, I'm trying to find. I'm trying to see if I can get him on, and may not do it. If we can't, we'll wait till we have it open at about 5 o'clock or so. Man, that would be something. But they put up all the districts, or all the divisions, the various divisions, various 6-man and 11-man. And one of the responses that I saw from a couple of those, like TAP's making a big change here. Essentially, every school will get into the playoffs. They will be seeded for the bracket, and everyone will get a shot at a run for a state title.
I mean, I don't, in the purest sense of the term of playoffs of what you're supposed to do, I don't like it. But if you're going to start losing district games here and there, and say one team winds up 4-0 in district, one winds up 3-0 in district, but they don't play each other, and then like you've got all it just. I would think this might be the path of least resistance to figure out who should be in the playoffs.
Greg Riddle from the Dallas Morning News covers high school sports. Because of game cancellations have increased due to COVID, TAPS announces the 2020 football season. All schools will be allowed to enter the playoff brackets if eligible in accordance with all other TAPS governance, which might be, obviously eligibility, things like that. I don't, I would maybe even that you have to have, I don't know if you go 0-9, if you even get to 9. And so that affects us in our backyard in many different ways, because if you look at what we have in our backyard, one, you went to Riker, you mentioned Riker, there's one. And then if you look at everyone else that's involved here, Central Texas Christian School, Eagle Christian Academy. Now, there's some that are in not under TAP. Some are TCAF, some are TCAL, some are independent. So not every but Riker's the one I think about. I'm not sure now, because they move up and down Live Oak and Methodist Children's Home and Vanguard and all these. They're just constantly moving in and out of whether it's TAPS or TCAL or Independent or TCAF and much more. So that's wild. Glad I saw that. I did not see that. That kind of skipped down my radar. In fact, I'm going to look under today's schedule alone and try to find the schools that are actually still a part of the actual TAPS. But that. All right, Andy Dalton. Everyone's saying the right things. You had mentioned Craig mentioned if they fall behind, is he going to help?
I don't know. That's my biggest question about it is if it's all of a sudden 17-3 again, is he going to come not even 17-3 isn't even that daunting, but they've fallen behind much more than that. Dak brought them all the way back against the Browns. They were way down.
Falcons.
And the Falcons. So can he do that? Because I don't see that stopping. I mean, the defense isn't going to get better now that Dak's hurt. It's not like they're going to step and say, we really have to play hard now. I mean, and not that they're not playing hard. They're lost out there. Of course, there was the comment from Xavier Woods last week where it's not like you can go 100% on every snap or whatever, which I think was probably taken out of context, but or
maybe he shouldn't have said it.
Maybe he shouldn't have said it, yeah. But it's just one of those things that your point's not going to get across that way. So I don't know. It's just they've got a problem on defense. They're confused. None of the players really fit in this scheme. They're trying to put a square peg in a round hole, and then that's why they keep falling behind.
The mini camps or the OTAs, the training camp, even though they had extended amount of time, that really did possibly hurt them. So here are the schools that I can think of in TAPS that are in this area. One of them is obviously Riker in Division III, District 2. Temple Central Texas Christian, Central Texas Christian Academy in Temple is another one. And if it appears as if I've read this correctly, then they're all, somehow or another, like you said, Riker lost a game coming up, in fact, this week. All right, when we come back, Grayson Grundhafer, Sikkim365.com. Frank Ditta, can't wait to talk to him. He'll join us, the former Baylor offensive lineman. He'll join us today as well at 4 o'clock. Lee Sterling on Vegas. I think the Cardinals are are they like a 1-point favorite or so to win this game? Is that right?
I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't be 11 points, but
what? Well, they just lost to Carolina.
Yeah, but no Dak, and I know Andy Dalton. The offense is still going to move, but the defense, again, they're going to fall behind.
What's the rule with the Cowboys?
Yeah, I guess.
What's the rule?
It's the rule. Yeah, every time you expect it to be bad,
this is when
good.
This is when they come up and.
Yeah, you know why? Because I'm not lucky enough as a broadcaster not to have to spend an off season where people call and go, I don't know if they don't just sign Andy Dalton. They shouldn't bring back Dak. His legs hurt.
If Andy Dalton reels off 8 in a row, they should. You know what they should do? They should hurt Dak's left ankle.
No.
Kidding. All right, we'll have Grayson Gruenhaver coming up next. Sikkim 365. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Right now and through tomorrow, Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. 10% on all ribeye steaks. 10% off on all ribeye steaks. Bone-in, normal, however you want them cut, 10% off. And they've got also a couple of unique sales going on. Alligator meat, $12.79 a pound. Crawfish tail meat, $14.95 a pound. Man, I use that when I do my crawfish and shrimp etouffee. If you want something for breakfast, it's pretty neat. The maple breakfast patties for $2.99 a pound. 15% off pork spare ribs if you want to get the smoker going this weekend. And then also, and it was almost a weekly thing with Brian Etheridge, and then Brian got away for about a few days. And so Taylor Bryan, athletic communication for football at Baylor, he sent me a picture last night. He has one of those big green eggs. He smoked a prime rib and then showed me a picture of it before as he was trying to get it seasoned to where you have the crust. Told me what he did, salted it, put it in the refrigerator long time, and then all of a sudden he got the big green egg going. And then he showed me a picture before and then showed me a picture of his prime rib that he got from Waco Custom Marketplace after. And inside, it depends. You want it medium rare. The crust looks great. And that's from Waco Custom Marketplace. If you want to cook beef, that's where you go. You can order it yourself, customize the order. If you want the bakery to help with something from kolaches to bread, fresh baked bread every day. And also other sweets and treats, seasonings and sauces. And in the middle, with all the aisles up and down inside Waco Custom Marketplace, you can also find what you would find in a normal, whatever you would want in a country grocery store, what you need for the weekend or for the night or for that moment. And you can customize your orders for pork, poultry, and seafood as well. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or wacocustommarketplace.com.
160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
What season is it? It's truck season at Allen Samuels. Ram trucks are raring to go, ready to work and play, and all feature the best deals of the year during Ram Power Days. Come get your brand new Ram Lone Star at Allen Samuels with 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $9,250 in bonus cash and incentives. Ram, the highest pickup owner loyalty in America. Shop, apply, buy online. We deliver. Ram Power Days at Allen Samuels.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7, and personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grundhafer of Sikkim365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Obviously, Baylor not playing this weekend. They hope they play Texas next Saturday in Austin. Be a 2:30 kick if they do. And one thing that's obvious is they have to get better at certain positions. They got to get better at every position, even if they have, it'd be hard to find anyone better than Terrell Bernard and a couple of others. But they have to be able to figure out what they're going to do with this offensive line. With who they have, is it enough? Is it ever going to be enough? Are they going to have to start to recruit different? Because they need some help on the offensive line. Nobody in the class of 2021 can help this year. It may not be able to help for a couple of years, but they're working on it. Grayson Grundhafer, Sikkim365.com, joins us. Grayson, how much did them missing out on Jacoby Jackson hurt? And tell us a little bit about Remington Strickland.
Yeah, so Jacoby Jackson obviously was a priority target for a while. Unfortunately, he decided to choose Texas Tech. Now, the big news really is the fact that Baylor he was a guy they would have taken, but I wouldn't necessarily say that he was the top option available for them. That would be Snow College offensive lineman Jordan Moko. People may remember Snow College because that is the same school that Baylor's current starting right tackle, Blake Bettier, is from. So Jordan Moko, a priority option right now for Baylor. And then as far as Remington Strickland goes, he's a guy who is trying to get some interest from Baylor. And it had been a little while. He used to talk to Jim Danielson quite a bit, who's on the Baylor staff. But it had been a couple months until last night he actually got a phone call with Joe Wickline, and they had a good conversation. So based on all the signs, I would say that Remington is definitely a guy that Baylor is evaluating. But they got to get it on it quick because Remington's picked up offers from Michigan, Oklahoma, and Virginia Tech over the last month.
Grayson, do you think it will help if some of the guys stay for a 6th year, or do they need to move on to different talent?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think that if you look at the roster that Baylor's constructed, a lot of the issues are coming from guys who are maybe in that redshirt junior mold where it's kind of like, are these guys going to be contributors or not? Are they going to be long-term options or not? So guys like, Khalil Keith, Jason Moore, Henry Kling, Jackson Kimball, are those going to be guys that really step up and are main contributors on this offensive line? Because if the answer is no, then I think you got to start looking at the younger talent and possibly getting them playing time and trying to figure out what you have with those guys instead of just continuing to play just older guys just because.
Grayson, if they do, in fact, play Texas this week, I mean, just from what we've seen from Texas and what we've seen from Baylor the first couple of games, what do you kind of think early on about that matchup?
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. And the reason I said is because Texas is not a great pass rushing team. They really haven't done an amazing job at getting pressure on the quarterback, which is something that Baylor has struggled with. Now, on the flip side of that, I do think Texas's defense is better than their numbers say. If you go and look at their, yards per carry or yards per reception, it's actually pretty good. The issue is they're just giving up a ton of points, and a lot of that is penalties, turnovers, poor special teams play, things along those lines that are inflating those numbers. But I do think Baylor's going to have to come up with a great game plan if they're going to want to run the football, move the ball effectively, which was something they weren't able to do against West Virginia. On the other side of things, I think Baylor's defense is going to be in for a major test. Sam Ehlinger's had a great start to the season. The Texas offense has looked pretty good for the most part. I think against Oklahoma, OU's defense did a great job there until late in that game. Really, Texas should have only scored 24 points, but they were able to, of course, force overtime, and then weird things happen in overtime as far as points go. But against TCU, they scored effectively. Against UTEP, they scored really.
Yeah, and it seemed like, and we had Sam on, and we've had Football Bob on, and kind of breaking down a little bit. We have discussed Texas. UT, to me, relies on a couple of things. They don't rely on their running backs. We've known that, and it's unfortunate for them because they got a handful of blue-chip guys back there. It's Ehlinger scrambling or draws or whatever. They love to throw the deep fade, don't they? They love to throw the ball down the field, and almost, if anything, we'll get a 15-yard pass interference call. Live on Sikkim 365 Radio. Frank Ditta, former Baylor offensive lineman, next on Sikkim 365 Radio. Ideal MRI, title sponsor of this show. Ideal MRI with Dr. Rob Maxey contacted me back from the beginning before we ever had our first show and said, we want to be involved. And we've been involved with them from the beginning. Premium quality MRI is convenient, affordable. That's ideal. On average, an MRI can cost over $1,100. So if that's on average, that means there's some that cost even more than that, sometimes considerably much more than $1,100. Their cost is $497 or less every single time. And what they'll also do is help you with your insurance to see how much that can help as well. Getting an MRI used to be time-consuming. It used to be a pain in the butt. Spending hours at the imaging center, took forever to even have a chance to get there. They provide a convenient, luxurious experience in state-of-the-art GE MRI suite, and your scan will be read by a board-certified subspecialist. We never more than $497. I've been through the process of getting the appointment, of being checked in, of talking to the Texan specialist, and also being a part or inside the MRI suite and the machine with its state-of-art technology. And then later on that evening, I got a call from Dr. Rob Maxey to tell me what the MRI machine had said and spit out to them. And you know what? What he told me, I thought that was probably true. And then I shared it with Dr. David Haynes at Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, who had done rotator cuff surgery on my right shoulder, just to let him know about my left. And then he and I had a talk. Nothing was a surprise, but I'll tell you what, it was smooth, high maintenance, is what sometimes can happen when you get an MRI machine. I've had some times I've been spooked myself. Nope, not with them. It was fantastic. IdealMRI.com, located in the Central Texas Marketplace in Waco.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sikkim 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Graham Property Company will give you the best opportunities and services to navigate and achieve your real estate goals. At Graham Property Company, we strive to establish lasting relationships built on service and performance. Whether you are buying, leasing, selling, or investing, our real estate portfolio and expertise can facilitate your needs no matter what real estate or property need you may encounter. Graham Property Company, property sales, acquisitions, leasing, and management at GrahamInvestmentCo.com.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine. Best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lakeview Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Up tempo for Baylor. Ebner straight ahead. Johnson lassoed him from behind, but instead he pushes across for the Bears touchdown.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Now here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Here we go. We're live from Gerald, by the way, today at Cougar Stadium, thanks to Amos Davidson and the staff setting us up here. They renovated the stadium. They rebuilt it about 3 years ago or so, and they have done a spectacular job. On the opposite side, which is the visitor side, you can see what was pretty much what it was like on either side. It's the old press box. Man, Masonic Construction, one of our sponsors of Connolly Football and also Sikkim 365 Radio, Aaron Miner and that great group, they've done a great job. We're now joined by Frank Ditta. Earlier this week, we had Doak Field. We've had many of players who have played at Baylor since the 1950s and throughout. Frank Ditta now joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Frank, obviously talent, Grant Taft, everything had been established. What was the special part of that 1980 team that was so good that you dominated and won the Southwest Conference by 3 games?
I would have to say that we had a cohesiveness that was very unique. We had something special. Don't know what it, just something special. We knew when we walked out on the field, we could play with anybody if we were focused. And obviously there was a couple times we weren't real focused, but when we were focused and what we had going on, we just all felt we had something special as long as we, stayed together and continued to do what we needed to do.
Was part
and we had some great athletes. I mean, you talked about Doak Field. I mean, I think Doak is one of the best linebackers ever to play at Baylor, but doesn't get the recognition that he deserves.
Is he a little overshadowed by that other guy who was there?
Yeah, that overrated guy in the middle. Yeah,
Mike Singletary. He's so selfish.
It's incredible, man. The dude is just. But Doak was 6'2", 6'3", could run like the wind, had great athleticism, and he was overshadowed. There's no doubt about it. And I told Doak that. I told him, I said, if the guy to your right or left wasn't standing there, you would have gotten a lot more accolades, in my opinion.
Did it help that you guys in the year, I mean, you always had in your tenure, Coach Taft did not shy away from playing people. You played tough people all the time. So by the time you were a senior or a junior on that team, you'd already been through the ringer, hadn't you?
Yeah, I mean, my junior year, we played Clemson. Sophomore year, we had Ohio State, we had Georgia. I mean, you're right. We didn't shy away from anybody, which was, exciting, but also showed us that, for the lack of whatever, we go up to Ohio State. Sophomore year, Greg Hawthorne gets, knocked out with a broken hip. That was a big blow in a lot of different ways because, Hawthorne was special. He was real special. And then, we knew we were close at that time. And I think, as leaders of the team in 80, we just decided we weren't going to let the little things fall to the side and creep up on us like they had in perhaps the previous years. We took care of business.
We don't get to see the game anymore because A&M left for another conference, but a part of that year, I mean, what was that like to beat down the Aggies the way you guys did?
I got to tell you something. That is one of the memories that I'll forever cherish because when you can make 70,000 people shut up, it was a lot of fun. I mean, the funniest part was torrential rain right before the game and part of the first quarter or whatever. I mean, it was just bucketing down. And we lined up for a field goal first drive, and the Aggies are kicking water on the ball like you dummies. It's just the ball's already wet. But honestly, we always felt like if it wouldn't have rained, we would have put 70 on them. I mean, it was just that kind of day. They just couldn't play with us.
Walter Abercrombie is a great friend of the show, and we've had him on, and obviously Walter runs the Baylor, the BU Letter Winners Association, the Hall of Fame. You're a part of that as well. He was special. We all know the story about when he was put into a game against A&M as a freshman on a bus ride down to College Station and had his best game, was spectacular. What was it like as an offensive lineman when you have, and I know he wasn't the only one, but when you have a Walter Abercrombie, knowing if you block that little more, and even if you don't, he's probably going to get something out of it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what was so unique about, what we had at Baylor at the time. I mean, you think about Walter and Frank Pollard and Dennis Gentry and those kind of guys, and Hawthorne and those guys. You knew that if you just got on your guy and did what you were supposed to do, of course, it was a different offense. It was a quick strike offense, and so you just needed to capture that edge. And once you did, they were by them. I mean, that was the great thing about it. You knew that if you just got your guy turned a little bit, they couldn't recover in time to get to a back like that. And if they did, to be honest, I mean, Walter was 6 foot, 215, 20 pounds. He was not a small fella. And Frank Pollard was the same way. Hawthorne. I mean, when you tackled them, you knew you'd tackle somebody.
You guys had so many different NFL players on that team. I don't know if there's a Baylor team for a long time that had that many. What was it like seeing all those guys go on and all the people get a chance at the next level?
It was awesome. I mean, we all had shots, at some point in time. It was a lot of fun watching some of those guys. What it did for me, quite honestly, is it made me realize that it's the luck of the draw in some instances, depending upon where you went, what the numbers, injuries, et cetera, and that's fine. Some guys played for a long time, and it really showed the kind of talent that we had because, a lot of them, some of us were not high draft choices, some of us were, but still, we all, they all played for a good amount of time and were successful. I mean, guys that maybe aren't brought up in conversation, like a Ronnie Bolee who played, 10, 11 years, that played a different position. So the quality of athletes coming through at that time was impressive. And that gets back to, Coach Taft and Coach O'Hara and, all the coaches at Corky, all the coaches that were recruiting. They recruited the kind of guys that, I think that's what the downfall of some teams, and I can say Baylor at times, they had no leadership in the locker room, and that's something we always had. We had leadership in the locker room, and that's why we were successful. And that's something that a lot of teams lack because kids today, they're scared to stand up or, say what's on their mind to a teammate because, hurt feelings and all that BS.
How much do you still keep up with the program?
I keep up with it. I watch it, to see what's going on. I was not happy with the way it was done. I don't blame him, but I didn't believe that he was there in true spirit. The gentleman that just left that went to the professional ranks. I thought he was looking for a job for a couple of years, and I didn't like it. And I think if you're there to do a job and if, using that as a stepping stone, I don't know, it just doesn't sit well to me. I'm old school. And if you're there to help the kids and help the program, then, you shouldn't be looking for another job while you're still under contract. And he was blatant about it, and I didn't appreciate it.
You mentioned, we mentioned Singletary, obviously. You were tight with him. Weren't you really, really great friends with Mike?
Well, I hope I still am, unless I pissed him off later.
So, did he give you something for your 50th birthday?
Where did you hear that?
I don't know. I just was kind of curious.
Yeah.
I do my due diligence. I study film like you did.
I hear you. No, he gave me. It was kind of funny. We were out in California. I was my wife gave me a trip to Pebble Beach to play, and
wow,
and we went out there, and actually Mike played around the golf, which was in and of itself hilarious. But he was coaching for the 49ers, and he gave me a jersey, one of his Chicago jerseys signed. And, you know, I've known the guy since we were 18 or 19. And, you know, it was like, okay, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. But so for his 60th, I gave him one of my 60 jerseys signed. And he kind of did the same thing. He was like,
"Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, appreciate it, bud." I said, "Well, hey, look in my closet. I got the same thing 10 years ago." Yeah. You know,
what the hell are you going to do when he turns 70? I mean, you have to go find somebody else.
Exactly. Well, I hope we're still here, buddy.
I know. No, hey, no question about it. Frank Ditta, former Baylor All-American offensive lineman, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio.
He is a special kind of intense, Mike Singletary. But I have a feeling that was, I mean, people know that because they saw the NFL films and all that. But was that kind of the mode of your team? We had Doak on the other day. It seems like you guys were all pretty intense.
Yeah, I guess we were. You know, I guess you're intense when you have a goal and you're focused on something and you don't want to get anything in the way. And I think that's just anybody when you've had success and you see that what you're doing is working. When you see something potentially come from the outside to disrupt that, you're going to stop that if you're serious about what you're doing. And I think that's what we were. And Mike was a great leader. Mike is a special guy. There's no doubt about it. He's got he's a great leader. But we had other leaders too, different leaders. That, you know, communicated in different ways. And I think that was what was unique about the whole thing. No one was, you know, the guy, but everybody could speak their mind and there wasn't anything taken, you know, offensive about anything if you had something to talk about.
Right.
You know, now if you were a knucklehead and said something stupid, you know, they'd say something too, you know.
I don't know how you want to get into this, but you have recently been through something that was life-altering experience. Is that correct?
If you're talking about earlier this year, yes, sir.
Would you mind? Because I think it might, I would think maybe validated what you thought about life and much more. And I hope you don't mind me going there, but it's an incredible story.
Not.
Yeah.
Of course not. In January of this year, back up. I was diagnosed in 2016 with ulcerative colitis. And if if you don't know what it is, it's a bowel symptom that it's an inflammation. And to be honest, never had an issue with it. Got diagnosed with it, no big deal, never thought about it. And I keep myself in pretty good shape. I took off a lot of weight since I played and keep it off. And so it was kind of my personal deal. And then around August, September of last year, I had an episode, which to be honest, I didn't know what it was, but it's called a flare up. And it was my white blood cells started attacking my immune system. And in January, I was admitted to the hospital, and I had basically had 99% blockage of all of my colon and everything, and was just in bad shape. And so I was life-flighted to Temple because they couldn't get me into Houston from Austin, and coded. I was dead for a minute and a half. They brought me back. My wife was standing there. Obviously, my little sister upset as heck. And I saw the light. I saw a bright light. I'm here to tell you, brother, I've seen it, and it was wonderful and felt wonderful. And they brought me back, and a nurse is pounding on my chest, screaming at me. And I'm like, what the heck? And it was because of blood loss. I'd bled out. I had no more blood in my body through internal bleeding. And thankfully, they brought me back and took the colon out the next day. And a few weeks later, I burst the stitch, and I was feeling great. You know, walking. They told me to walk. I was walking, getting stronger every day, felt good. And I burst the stitch and developed sepsis and went back in. And the doctor at that time, Dr. Glover, when I came in, my heart rate was 179 or whatever. and my blood pressure was almost 0. And so he flipped a coin. He said to me, he said, I looked at you. You looked in good shape. I figured the heart could stand it. And I focused on the blood pressure, and he brought me back again, I guess. So, yes, it was life-altering because I have seen the other side, to be honest with you, and it's glorious. I'll be honest with you. It's glorious, and it was a light, and it was very peaceful. And so it was interesting and compelling at the same time. So, yeah, it was life-altering. I lost 47 pounds. It's not a diet I would recommend for anybody, but I'm coming back strong.
Wow.
I don't even know if we could go any further.
I mean,
that is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you hear stuff like this, Frank, a lot, or but it's on television or it's in a book. To actually talk to somebody who's seen the light. I mean, it's just. I think this is the first for me. It's unbelievable, and I'm kind of.
It was incredible because I mean, seriously, I don't know if it was the light from the surgery room or it was the light, but I saw a bright light and I was at peace, and then the next thing I know is this nurse is on my chest, pounding away, and I threw her off of me. I'm like, get off of me. I didn't know what the heck was going on.
Well, that's probably different than most people's.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah.
She had to feel that she.
Yeah, I was like, get off of me. What are you doing? Because I came to. And she was like, my wife was standing. My wife can tell you the exact moment she saw the line go flat. And, she called out. She goes, he's gone, or something like that. Like she saw me just fall back dead. And she said, I turned gray, and just my eyes went up in my head, and just they just started getting to work. And the crazy part, my little sister, who's, we're really close, and she was out in the hall, and the doctor came out of the room, and people were coming in droves, and he came out of the room, one of the doctors, and gave the slash cut of the throat type scenario of, stop. And she just cratered because she thought I died. She thought he was giving a signal I was gone, but he was telling everybody that's enough staff. We have enough staff in the room, all the doctors coming in the room. So it was quite a time. And so, yeah, I walked out of the hospital. I went into it at 237 and walked out at 191. So, but now I'm up to a whopping 209 pounds. Last time I weighed.
Frank, is it tough to go to sleep the next time you do?
No, not really. When you're drug infused, it's not hard at all.
That's probably the best night of sleep you've ever had in your life.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. I mean, the stuff they give you, it's
yeah.
The problem is, though, to be honest, that's where you get hooked on it. I got hooked on, the pain pills. Of course, the surgery I had was major, and so that was the hard part, was getting off the drug pills. Which, by the way, if you've never interviewed Randy Grimes, who played after me, I would urge you to do so. He is doing a wonderful job with addiction with athletes and those things, and he was addicted himself, if you don't know the story.
Oh, yeah. We've had him on many times. The Super Bowl, we consider him a friend. He's great.
Every year at the Super Bowl at Radio Row, which I'm not sure they'll have this year, Randy Grimes is a staple. Has been there now for what, Craig, about the last 15 years or so to tell his story.
I've seen that on Facebook.
Yeah.
I remember. Here's a quick story on Randy. You can ask him about when he was a freshman. I believe he was a freshman. Him and Kent Townsend and Travis Self and those knuckleheads. If you remember, I don't know, you guys aren't old enough, but Brooks Hall used to have a baseball or softball little park right beside it. You go out there and play baseball, and it was kind of a lot. And so they wanted to hang out with the older guys, and we came up with an idea to get them to indoctrinate into the club. And there's a massive tire out there, tractor tire or whatever. And we told them if they caught that thing on fire, and did a couple things, we'd let them into the club. And so they go out there with gasoline, I'm assuming, And it's the funniest thing because you could see them in the darkness throwing matches on the tire after they had put gasoline on it. And it's like 3 or 4 matches, nothing's happening. We're laughing. We're laying, in the rooms looking out the windows. And all of a sudden, they must have hit the pocket of gasoline because that thing exploded. And the next thing you see in silhouette is those knuckleheads running towards the dorm. And then the tree above it catches on fire. So then the firemen come, and it was funny. I'll never forget that. Those 3 guys, I remember there's probably more, but those guys were running so fast, about 1 o'clock in the morning, you know how it is. So that was Grimes. He'd do anything. He was crazy as heck.
Yeah, we'll have to bring that up. He went to school at what now is called Tyler Legacy, where Craig went to school at Lee High School. Out of Tyler, was a hell of a player, no question about it, and then with the Buccaneers for a long time. Frank, I got to tell you, this is my 39th year in the business, 20-something years in radio, and that's one of the most remarkable things I've ever heard. One of the great stories ever. And, if we could discuss football and an 80 team and all that other stuff, but that was fantastic. That was absolutely fantastic.
Well, I'm a Christian, and I've been a Christian since I was 23 years old. And I'm not one of these guys that goes around and, preaches and all that stuff. I love speaking. That's what I do as a living in my job, speaking at high schools about the recruiting process. But, it really allowed me to, because I've always had questions and stuff like that, but it really cemented my relationship. Not that it needed it, but, when you experience something like that, a lot of things don't matter anymore. And you truly are. I know people say it and it's cliche, but man, when you go through something like that, you're blessed to be here. And so I've had some conversations with some teammates about, why are we here? What am I doing here? And those are the things that to me are what life's about. And I don't know if I'll ever answer that, but I'm going to try.
Frank, I know we are up against the next interview, and you need to go as well. But are you still at NCSA? Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't say those damn 4 letters. Are you still there? Tell everyone what you're doing.
I'm director of regional recruiting, primarily for Texas. I go into high schools, and NCSA, basically, I educate parents and student athletes about the recruiting process, what is involved in it for athletics, and what's going on. So we're a company that's been doing it for 20 years to help parents and student athletes in the recruiting process. We provide tools if they want them. If they don't want to use them, they don't have to. We still provide them tools. But it's if you want to use our services, you can. But I truly love educating the parents and the student athletes about the athletic recruiting process and speaking in front of them. I have a great time when I do it because when you're helping kids, there's nothing else better.
The email, and I'm going to repeat this for anyone who wants to contact you, is fditta, D-I-T-T-A, at ncsasports.org, correct?
Yep. Or you can give my personal one. It's frank.ditta@gmail.com.
Well, there you go. Man, I'm so glad we got a hold of you, Frank. Thank you so much. We'll share this with Baylor Nation. Thanks for your time, and God bless.
Okay, guys. God bless. Have a great day.
What a story. Frank Ditta, former All-American offensive lineman at Baylor. And again, as he said, frank.ditta, D-I-T-T-A, @gmail.com. He's a part of that Director of Regional Recruiting, NCSA Recruiting. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Allen Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Ram Power Days all the way through the first week in November, that November 2nd day. 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cabs with Hemi or Eco Diesel, 0% financing for 72 months, no payments for 90 days, or choose $9,250 in cash and incentives. And Ram has the highest pickup owner loyalty in America. A lot of dealerships have been struggling to try to get fresh inventory. Allen Samuels has multiple dealerships and connections all across the United States to help fill up their inventory and get you what you want, including if you're a business person that needs a truck or something for your business, or even a farmer or ranch hand or rancher. For those Jeep fans, the Jeep Adventure Days continue. including employee pricing for all the 2020 Gladiator Sport, no payments for 90 days, and also the Renegade, the 2020 0% for 72 months, no payments for 90 days, or you get up to $6,250 in cash and subprime offers. You can go online if you want to shop, AllenSamuelsDCJ.com, or their dealership, and they have watching, disinfecting, being smart, social distancing, sanitizing. It's Allen Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
Let's face it, some people just like driving around in the new. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters to talk about those truck owners that know they have naked trucks but simply don't care. You'll hear them saying something like, I'm just driving around free and easy, nothing constricting me. Gross. But there is something that can entice almost any naked truck owner. Leather. I mean, they kind of go together, right? And Pickup Outfitters is an authorized dealer and professional installer of cat skin leather seats. So I'm asking you to do your part and help us end truck nudity. The next time you're near your naked truck owner friend, you can say something like, you know what would really be sexy on your truck? Leather. And they'll get that sly smile, and you know you've hit them in their weak spot. Pickup Outfitters installs factory matching leather kits or custom kits in just about any color combination for your truck or even car. It's the sexy thing to do. You can be part of the problem, or you can create a commotion with cat skin leather seats at Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Connolly football tonight, 7 o'clock pregame. 7:30 the kickoff against Gerald, 9-4A Division II. Connolly 3-3. They lost last week to Salado. Salado right up the note, just like, 10, 12 miles up the street on 35. A heck of a game coming up with Salado and China Spring tonight at 7:30 there. Thanks to our afternoon high school football presenting sponsors, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, McLennan County Agents, Southwest Sports Medicine, and orthopedics as well. Joined by Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. Last week, 3-2. We give you 4 games in which Lee gives you his expertise, and then a game of a week for you to get involved in. That will be the Cowboys and Cardinals. Let's start. Lee, how much does everything change with not knowing if Saban, who has all of a sudden tested negative a couple of times for COVID after the positive, who might or might not be on the sideline tomorrow against Georgia?
I don't think coaches make that much difference. I got to be honest with you. Even though Nick Saban's one of the great ones, and maybe he's worth 1.5 points, maybe Belichick's worth 2 points, but I think it's more the preparation, getting ready, and if it's anything, it's the fear of having to go to the sidelines to face him. So that's what I used to hear talking to players who played for people like Don Shula before. So. Probably means a little bit, but the bottom line is players got to play, and this is a great matchup. The number 2 ranked offense, Alabama, averaging 51 points a game against the number 2 defense of Georgia, allowing only 12 points per game. What we know from watching Georgia is you got to run the ball to be successful against them, and so far Auburn and Tennessee could not. And when you're faced with a lot of 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10s, not many college teams are able to navigate being successful, 3 or 4 times going down the field with those type of situations. And Alabama probably still can't, but they have a better offensive line than those 2 teams. They've got a better back, a guy that's going to be drafted in the 1st or 2nd round, and Harris if he stays healthy. And so they might be putting some 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4s, and it's a lot easier to navigate that. And if they're able to open up the offense, their 2 receivers, Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith, are almost unguardable. I am a little worried about their defense. Their defense looked terrible, but I think they're going to simplify things, and they might have been looking ahead to this game here. I'm going to say, roll Tide, Alabama, 34-23.
All right, Lee, BYU and Houston, the Cougars. Well, this is both the Cougars and the Cougars, but BYU has looked really, really good early on in the year.
So the Cougars, they look good. Nice little cat fight we got going here. 2 good quarterbacks. Houston's Clayton Tune, the only game this year that they played, 319 yards. He threw 4 and 3 touchdowns. He's mobile. Zach Wilson, a lot of NFL teams are looking at this kid. 8 touchdowns, just 1 interception. I think the difference here is defense. BYU's 4th-rated defense, run, scoring, and total D. I like watching their linebackers and their DBs. They cover, they hit, and unlike many teams around the country, their DBs don't just throw their body into a running back. They wrap up, and that's important right now. So BYU, they don't beat themselves also. Houston might have the more dynamic players, but last year they averaged over 9 penalties a game. They started the first game this year with 10 penalties, and BYU just 1 to 7 penalties in all 4 games. This game could have national championship implications because I think this might be the year. If you, let's say BYU runs the table, we might see a non-Power 5 team in the semifinals. I like BYU here, 42-24.
Lee, over in the NFL, you've got the Steelers and the Browns, who are off to a very nice start. Not one that maybe people expected, but a nice start nonetheless. Another division rival.
Yeah, and the game everyone's waiting for because the helmet throwing incident last year, and it was a crazy game, but. I think Pittsburgh was looking ahead. Last week against Philly, their defense brought their C- or their D+ game. Played just were not flying to the ball like they normally do. And why is Cleveland 4-1 this year? They're +8 and number 1 in the NFL with +8 turnovers. So Baker Mayfield just 3 interceptions in the 5 games. He needs to play with the lead, and if he's playing from behind. That pit rush, 20 sacks in 4 games, that's 5 sacks per game, could put him in some situations where he'll throw interceptions. He has a tendency to try to, push the ball in there where it can't be thrown. He's not Dan Marino. And Chase Claypool coming out of nowhere, emerging 4 touchdowns last week, might open it up here for Juju Smith-Schuster. I like Pittsburgh, 35-27.
All right, and then Aaron Rodgers and the Packers seem to be on a roll. Tom Brady,
yep.
and I almost said the Patriots, and the Bucs need a win. Your thoughts about Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, 2 of the best?
What's crazy is they've only matched up. This will be the 3rd time, but interesting game because I think if the game was played last week, I probably would have gone with Green Bay. They were 4-0 on a roll. They probably would have loved to have played a couple more weeks before they went to the bye, but sometimes you come out of that bye and just things happen, just not the same. And Tampa Bay, they're coming off. They've got 2 losses now in the season. So Green Bay, even if they lose this game, they're still 4-1 in good shape. Tampa Bay cannot lose this game if they have aspirations of winning the division here. I think getting back Godwin, I think, is going to be a big plus for them. They've only had him and Evans together for 1 game, and I think the Green Bay secondary is vulnerable. Wrong team's favored. Tampa at home, 30-27.
All right, Lee, in the game of the week, the Cardinals and the Cowboys. No Dak Prescott. I still think this was going to have a lot of offense.
Yeah, it still will. And it should be fun. You want to get this game, just call 800-400-9741. First 5 callers will get the game for free, and been on a roll here, 5 out of 6 winning weeks since football came back, and we've hit our 45-unit play last week. Since 12 years ago when we went to the 10 to 50 unit rating system, 40 to 50 unit plays, 49, 15, and 1. We've got, I know a lot of people would love to join me, but, maybe financially or maybe just not ready to come aboard for a month or a season. How about this? 7 games this weekend, 4 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, just $77. It's an instant download, so you don't have to call back Saturday or Sunday to get the games. We rate them from 10 to 50 units, so we're going to stay on this roll. I know a lot of people, they can come up with less than $100, and I think I can turn less than $100 into $1,000 or more win for you. So ParamountSports.com, 7 for 77, or give us a call here at the office, 800-400-9741.
Thank you, sir. Lee, great stuff.
Thanks, guys.
It's at Paramount Sports on Twitter. Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. He had Alabama. Talked about Brigham Young, right?
Yeah, I've this is the first time in a long time where I'll turn on BYU when they're on and watch them for sure.
Yeah, they've been a good team for a long time, but they've got a really good team this year. UTSA gave them a handful last week. It was a nice showing for Jeff Traylor's bunch, but came up short. But at the same time, BYU's very well going to be that team that tries to play spoiler. I think any playoff predictions as of right now are a bit of a waste of time, quite frankly, but we're not that far away from getting into the 3/4 of the way through the schedule, and soon with these other conferences returning, I mean, there's going to be playoff talk galore. So yeah, BYU firmly in that Boise State / U of H / whatever non-Power 5 that makes a run every year that you want to look at.
All right, so we'll have Scott Stewart in a minute from Temple, and also Tyler Holcomb. Riker had their game canceled. And going back to that, and I mentioned that I just did not read it thoroughly, that TAPS, I found the entire release, by the way, and yeah, they're basically going to open everything up. It's open season. Everybody's in.
You found out before a lot of the coaches did.
Everyone wins a ribbon.
So I called Tyler, and I was like, hey, what's going on with the playoffs? He's like, what are you talking about? I said, well, Smokey's reading an email right now, and he goes to his email, and he's like, he's got taps, and he goes about the 5th one, and he's reading through. And it wasn't even the first thing on the email they sent them. They sent them all this other stuff. That's called bearing the lead, Taps.
Yeah.
That's, hey, by the way, no matter what you do the next month or so, it doesn't matter. You're going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
There are programs that, that's the best news they've ever heard in their lives.
Some that have never made it, or some.
Yeah.
So what was his response?
He said, let me wrap my head around it. He's like, I guess it looks like.
Here's the actual
wrap my head around it. Yeah.
Athletic directors and football coaches, as the football season, this is from TAPS, as the football season nears the halfway mark, the game cancellations have increased each week. After discussion with many districts and coaches concerning the playoff possibilities, there was no easy fix for most brackets to adjust for lost games and no contest. The TAPS staff and executive board have adjusted the brackets for the 2020 football season to allow for all schools to enter the brackets if eligible, in accordance with all TAPS governance. A school under disciplinary sanction would not be eligible for the playoffs if sanctions in place did not allow participation. This expansion of the brackets is a one-year exception in light of the current pandemic situation. Each district, in accordance with TAPS bylaws, shall determine the district's final order of finish for seeding purposes. The TAPS officials shall be updated to reflect these changes. Then they show out the brackets. So I did get a text finally from George Teague, and he had pushed me down to somebody else. As a board member, he nor Jeff Smith, who I knew when he was at Grace Community, and TK Gorman and Tyler, And I've seen Jeff at these state tournaments at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, this tennis tournaments. He's one of the guys there. He's one of the ones that makes a difference. And neither one of them could talk, which is unfortunate, but they don't have to now. We know it, but that's interesting that even some coaches didn't know.
Yeah, I mean,
like you get a call, hey, congratulations on the playoffs.
Yeah.
We have played one game. Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, Rikers played twice. The third game was this week, and here they are, trying to get another one in, and they get it canceled. And the team that they're going to play, Tyler All Saints, gets out of quarantine, I believe, right now. I think they're officially out as long as everything's okay. So he told them, like, look, we're going there. We'll come out and play you. If you're out of quarantine, he's like, well, we can't practice all week, so they'd be out of quarantine at 4 o'clock and playing at 7 o'clock, so it just wasn't feasible. But, and all these coaches, they want to play games. I mean, it doesn't really help you to sit around. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're not sick, I mean, obviously there's going to be teams, that have some players that are sick, that are able to play. You get one or two guys that are sick, but, especially if they might already be distance learning or whatever. But it doesn't help you if your team's not sick for you to sit around and wait. As a matter of fact, to me, that just makes it more likely that somebody's going to go out and get COVID because somebody's going to be so bored with not playing and out of the routine that they're going to say, well, the heck with this, I'm going to a party.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, the protocols are best when the guys are all around each other, so just part of the deal.
I'm looking for the latest update on Nick Saban. I just saw something that came down on him. He might make it tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, would it surprise you that anybody else could find their way out of this?
Well, he can walk on water, right? If there's anyone that can do it,
he is certainly the college football pope. So
I can't find it. It was right there in front of me.
Let's take a break, and then maybe we can find it during a commercial.
Yeah, we can. Maybe we can.
We still got a couple minutes before I'm comfortable doing that. So about 3 minutes, and then we can do it. So I don't know. I don't know how, like, the testing is so all over the place, and was his positive test a PCR test, which is the Q-tip in the brain?
Yeah, it's a PCR test. I mean, like, there's not any sort of mystery to this entire story, and it's the latest that it was like half an hour ago. He might return tomorrow. He's got to pass another test. They have to do these PCR tests, which we know are not accurate. This is not breaking news in any way other than it's him. And there's another test, and I guess he's got to do it once every 24 hours for like 3 days. Well, I guess he's like 2 days through. So I don't know when that third test would be. Probably sometime tomorrow morning, I would think. And then if he tests negative once again, he would, I guess, be free and clear to go ahead and coach on the sidelines. That's if that test is tomorrow morning. If he's doing one tonight, I haven't seen that information, but if he's doing one tonight, then he wouldn't, in theory, be able to take another one until tomorrow night, which I doubt that's the case because then there wouldn't be a chance for him to coach in that game.
Yeah. All right, so one of the things, thanks for clarifying that, Craig. Here's are you rooting for or against the Astros to have a comeback against their again?
I mean, I personally don't care, but
let me let what the listeners say. Can I communicate through Morse code via trash can banging? CHEATERS.
It's fair.
It's fair. I mean, if I'm leaning one way or the other, it would be I would rather not see them win it.
Yeah, I don't want to see them win it, but I'm not going to waste my own energy.
My emotions,
yeah. I'm like that's the thing that probably maybe gets lost in me saying like, oh, I don't care. No, I absolutely don't want to see them win the World Series, but I got to burn up my own energy rooting against them all day yesterday, and then when they play again, like, no, I'm just not going to do that.
I will say this: if they do win the World Series, that whole year of booing that they got out of, all that will just be pushed.
Right, yeah.
Like, they'll still get booed everywhere because I know one of them in the postgame, at least one of them, will make some comment about.
Oh, no, it'd be more than one. If they come back and then they win it all, it might be across the board.
No, and there will be some dumb things said, I guarantee, because there's already dumb things said, in the first round of the playoffs by a guy like Correa of, like, trying to play the victim in this whole thing. Look, you're still not the victims, and even if you go and win the World Series this year, you're not showing anybody anything. You're just showing that, hey, you didn't need to cheat in the first place, but you were anyways, and you got busted. So the cheater thing's not going away. it will be a clean, untainted title this year, but the cheater label's going to be there for a little while for a lot of people, especially fans of the Dodgers and teams like that. But it would go and show that, hey, maybe that wasn't even really needed. We're such a good team, we can go win World Series without having some big orchestrated plot with trash cans and our coaching staff knowing having an idea of what's going on or whatever. But yeah, to their credit, they're in this position, and they still got to win 2 more games. I mean, if Tampa Bay wins, then the whole redemption thing, which there's not really anything redeeming about this run, but for Astros fans there seems to be. I don't think for the outside world there is, though.
No, absolutely not.
Now, the Game 6 is in about 20 minutes.
Yes. And here, I'm not a fan. Like, I used to live in Tampa. I find the Rays very boring, and
I don't.
Just generally as a franchise, I've never really rooted for them, and every time I went to a Rays game, it was funny how they'd been there forever, and then like right after I left, they went on this like huge run, and they went to the World Series, and they're all these Rays fans, like, yeah, Rays fan for life. Like, okay, yeah, tell that to the crumpled up Yankee jersey in your closet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because that's what Tampa is still, like, no matter what it will say, Tampa is the Yankees' town. That is Steinbrenner's town. That's where Steinbrenner lived. Like, right down the street, like, right next to the Bucks is Legends Field. Right there. Like, heck, Derek Jeter, his team is in Miami. He still lives in his big-ass house in Tampa. I mean, It's a Yankee town.
Yes, it is, and forever will be, like you said. I mean, the Rays are just like a nice little cherry on top for baseball fans, but I've repeated this ad nauseum, but had family that I don't know if they even still, I don't really talk to them as much anymore, but they were season ticket fans or season ticket holders for the Rays years ago, and they said it was great because you just go walk in there and pick whatever seat you wanted to. You could walk up behind home plate practically because nobody else was there. And then once they started playing well, it was like, oh, this isn't as fun because now people are packing and we got to actually sit in our own seats. But
the only day one Rays fan I know that goes to as many games as he can is Dickie V.
Yeah,
Dick Vitale sits right behind home plate.
You know what, though? I think what they do year in and year out
brilliant.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant. Yeah, I'm not knocking that. Just
Scott Stelk, as a Yankee fan that formerly lived in Houston, more than happy if the Astros advance. It's about 50-50. Some people that don't like him don't respect him no matter what they do. So that's that. When we come back, Scott Stewart, head football coach at Temple, Tyler Holcomb at Riker after their game was canceled because of COVID earlier this week. We're live at Gerald High School and Cougar Stadium, and they have renovated this stadium. Masonic construction is fantastic. You can tell when you get here, if you're a Connolly fan, when you get here or anyone that plays here, what the stadium could be like, what it was like, because on the opposite side is the old press box, and there's 5 windows in it. And that's, hey, Gerald was a small school, and they're one of the smallest in 3 and 4A Division II.
That was the first picture I saw when we got the schedule, and I thought, oh man, no, but this is beautiful.
I've been told, and Amos Davidson told me even back 2-3 months ago, you guys are going to be fine. And then they have this brand new press box. They've done a great job with it. Field turf, new field house. It's really nice. It's just off about maybe 4 or 5 miles off of 35. Just south of Salado. And tonight in Salado is that game between China Spring and Salado. That ought to be one heck of a game. Can't wait for that score to trickle down. High school football coming up next. We'll have former Cowboys offensive lineman and former Raiders offensive lineman Kevin Gogan at 5:30. Can't wait for that. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. How about being the high-performance man that you want to be? How do you do that? There's a lot of ways to live your life when it comes to your health, exercise, making sure you sleep right, what you do when it comes to eating, your diet. And then sometimes, no matter what, Father Time starts to take things away from you, including lowering your testosterone level little bit by little bit. And what that might do is lead to not sleeping as well or becoming lethargic or, obviously losing energy. And then you start to fall apart elsewhere. For example, your sex drive might change as you get older, or ED as you get older. And so Dr. Kent Petty, pettycliniclowt.com, pettycliniclowt.com, has a program to help you become the high-performance man that you want to be if, in fact, any of what I mentioned has become a problem. As you get older in your 30s and then eventually 40s or older, your testosterone level can dip. Here's what he'll do. Contact them. Tell them Smokey sent you. PettyClinicLowT.com. He'll get you blood work. He'll get you discounted blood work, and you go to the lab, get your blood work. He'll look at it, and if your testosterone levels are too low, he will put you in a program with his business at PettyClinicLowT.com to help you become the high-performance man that you want to be, you deserve to be, and what you want to be every day at PettyClinicLowT.com.
Parsons Roofing has been serving Central Texas since 1948, and we can handle your commercial roofing needs from repair to re-roofing. And no one handles more school than Parsons Roofing. Parsons Roofing has been named Contractor of the Year for 14 consecutive years. Parsons Roofing, a name Central Texans have trusted for over 70 years. It's not just a roof, it's our reputation. You can contact us today for a free roof evaluation, including hail claims at 877-881-1733 or on the web at parsonsroofing.com.
Looking for quality plants at great prices? Barrera's Nursery and Landscape Company at 201 Sun Valley Drive in Hewitt is the place for seasonal plants, shrubs, trees, and perennials, as well as bulk material of landscape rock. Barrera's Nursery and Landscape has been locally owned and operated for 22 years. Give us a call at 666-9806. That's 666-9806 for all your landscaping needs. Barrera's Nursery and Landscape Company, open Monday through Saturday, 8 until 5:30 on Sun Valley Drive in Hewitt. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance in McLennan County takes pride in backing Central Texas football. Our agents would like to help with your insurance needs. Call 254-772-8090 for an agent near you.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
Hey guys, Scott Stewart here, head football coach of the Fighting Wildcats from Temple High School in Temple by God, Texas, and you're listening to Sikkim 365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Temple Wildcats football coach Scott Stewart is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
Temple coach Scott Stewart joins us here on Sikkim 365 Radio. Coach, you played a really good Martin team last week, and while you had some mistakes, you really do see a lot of positives as you head into the district season.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, when you play a team of that caliber, it's going to show you exactly where you are and where you're not, and I think that can't be anything but positive if you handle it the right way. I mean, you know, I've seen teams before go 3-0 in pre-district or 4-0 in pre-district and think their stuff don't stink, and then get to the district and have some oops. But there's no question as to, you know, playing a team of that caliber. I mean, we obviously have some issues on special teams that we've addressed, and it's just, I think it's good sometimes, and nobody ever wants to lose one, but sometimes it's good for those kids to get knocked down a notch and say, hey, you better show up every week, week in and week out, because there's some really good teams out there.
You can learn a lot from losing or getting scared, right? Get a little charge in you.
There you go. And you know, I mean, again, just getting 15, 16, and 17-year-olds to understand that just because they step on a field don't mean they get to walk off with a victory. And you know, those are the best lessons learned, you know, as long as you learn. I mean, you know, that can go one or two ways, but I think our kids have handled it really well. We watched the film for what it was. We flushed it, and now we're moving on to district.
Now, you're in district in Copperas Cove to start out. What have you seen from the Bulldogs through their 3 games?
Well, they're big up front. I mean, it's going to be rinse and repeat for what we've seen. I mean, they're big up front. They got really good skill kids. They set up the pass with the power run game, and they got enough of that old school. They still got some of that wing team mentality about them. Coach Hammett does a great job over there, and they come off flat back, try to knock you around,
and stay ahead of the sticks, and then they set up the play action pass and bootlegs and stuff like that. And they're just really efficient at it. On defense, they fly around, and they've got some really good skilled kids over there. So, there's not a team in this district that you better not get ready for, and you're just going to walk out there just figure there and you beat them. I mean, that just don't exist in 12-6A.
Yeah, they haven't been the old Copper's Cove in a couple years, but the one thing you can't ever do when you play the Bulldogs is expect them not to have talent, because they always have guys that can make plays.
They got guys that can make plays, and they're defending their home turf this week, and we'll have our hands full, and so we're going to try to put a good game plan together. That's what we've been working on, and hopefully our kids will learn the lessons we needed to learn. And there's nobody we're going to face that's any better than what we've seen. But Copper Cove is a good team, so we're just going to get prepared and see if we can't go on the road and try to find one.
Hi, this is Tyler Holcomb, Athletic Director and Head Football Coach at Bishop Lewis Riker, and you're listening to SicEm 365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Riker Catholic Cougars football coach Tyler Holcomb is sponsored by Riker Athletic Booster Club, Boozer's Jewelers, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
Bishop Lewis Riker head coach Tyler Holcomb joins us here on SicEm 365 Radio. And Tyler, you were getting ready for a game this week, but Fort Worth All Saints had to forfeit the game. So how do you react as a coach to your players as you're getting prepared for a game in a year that's already been crazy, insane, stupid with scheduling? How do you react to this, and what do you do going forward this week, as now you kind of have to move on to Grace Prep on the 23rd?
Well, we were going to play Tyler All Saints this week, and they called and said that they're going to be quarantined until 4 o'clock on Friday. So, we're taking it in stride, and it's out of our control, and that's what we preach to our guys. We're going to control the controllables, and this is something that we can't control. So we're just going to focus on us this week, and any dings or little injuries we have on our team, we're going to really focus on those and try to get those guys back and get them healthy. And then we're going to really focus on our JV. Our JV plays Mart on Thursday, so we're going to get those guys out there and practice hard and try to go out there and put on a show against the Panthers.
That's kind of an interesting thing. We don't talk about that a lot, but like when you get a chance as a varsity coach to really hone in on the JV, how valuable is that down the line, not only for you seeing the kids that you have and getting to really work with them in some game time situations, but for the kids themselves?
Oh, it's huge to me because, unfortunately we don't get to work with those guys as much as we might like to. We don't have a lot of coaches, and so we, most of the time our focus is on the varsity trying to get those guys ready for Fridays. But so whenever we have an opportunity to be able to focus more on our younger kids, I know I really enjoy it, and I hope that those guys get something out of it as well.
Is this a fundamentals week? Make sure you clean up the little stuff as far as the varsity goes?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're always trying to focus on the little things because the little things make up, all the big things that happen on Fridays and Thursdays. And so we're going to keep trying to clean up penalties. We've come a long way since week 1, and hopefully we can continue to make strides in those areas. And like I said, get healthy, and then just kind of polish up what we do and try to build on our strengths.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
Masonic Construction is celebrating 52 years as an award-winning, family-owned and operated business excelling in general construction and construction management. Masonic Construction is proud to support Connolly ISD's tradition of excellence in education and athletics, including owners calling Connolly High their alma mater, Vicky Masonic, class of 1974, and Aaron Miner from the class of 2002. Masonic Construction, celebrating 50-plus years by building trust with quality work. MasonicConstruction.com.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Have you seen the bleachers and grandstands at Baylor University, McLennan Community College, throughout Waco, Midway, Riesel, Mart, Marlin, La Vega, and Connolly ISD? They all have one name in common, Sturtasteel, an industry-leading fabricator of engineered seating solutions. There's no substitute for knowledge and experience. Sturtasteel has both, with more combined experience in the business than anyone else in the industry. Sturtasteel is quality from the ground up. We don't just build grandstands and bleachers, we build trust. Sturtasteel.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Three receivers right side, including the H-back, and Gaither will throw. Pump fake to LaMarcus McDonald, or is that Bronche Miles? He caught it! Over the shoulder. Pump fake. Gaither. Bronche Miles Jr. Touchdown. Conley.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
By the way, on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line, Matt in D.C., I can't wait to fly to Waco when Brigham Young comes there. What is that? Is that in the next year or two?
Yeah. When is that, Craig?
I don't remember the dates off the top of my head, but yeah, it's coming up. I'll have to check on the future schedules.
So there you go with that. Astros about to start Game 6, down 3-2. They've come back from 3 down. Only one team in the history of baseball has ever done that. The 04 Red Sox.
The only team that ever deserved to.
Can I finish?
I'm just saying.
Oh,
I'm just saying that they are the only team that ever deserved to. The only team that was worthy that went through the trials.
That was
Indiana Jones in Last Crusade.
That was an amazing. That was, of all the teams to do it, had to be the Red Sox or the Cubs, and the Red Sox did it and went on to win it all. Tonight, Game 5. Atlanta leads the Dodgers 3-1 as well.
Yeah, BYU's the next 2 years. Waco next year.
Wow.
There you go. That'll be fun.
Probably glad it's not this year. Of course, they wouldn't play.
Yeah.
You know, they wouldn't have been able to get that thing in either. So I'm down there, and Amos Davidson, the head coach at Gerald, and Shane Anderson at Connolly. And Shane tells me, he brings this up. I told him about TAPS. Brad Boozer just sent me a text. We got screwed by COVID last week and again this week. And he's like, that painful emoji. Shane just said to me, I told him about TAPS being wide open. He said, well, I think the UIL is going to do this deal that if you get to round 3 and you lose, that you continue to practice in case the team you beat gets COVID.
Okay. But
now I'm not sure if that's been passed or not.
No, but you said this, like I say, so say they lost to West Orange Stark and then they got to go play Carthage. And West Orange Stark gets sick. So, and then they would play, because they would play West Orange Stark. But what if Carthage gets sick?
Well,
Then-
that's whoever beat Carthage.
But what if they both get sick?
Well, then you play
then it's-
two teams that lost.
Yeah, I mean,
No, that's what I'm.
But I mean, or what if Carthage and the team that they beat both get sick? Then do you play West Orange Stark again?
That's why it's a dumb. I'm sure there's a reason behind it. You want to.
Yeah, they're trying to make money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Games mean money, means attendance, even if it's not full throttle. Here's what doesn't make sense. And I even try to get him to clarify. If you are, for example, Team X, and you lose in round 3 to Team Y, and you're told you keep practicing, Team Y ends up with COVID, you play the next round, and you lose to Team Z, and then you're told you could keep practicing, and then you lose to Team 00. You mean to tell me and there's got to be some clarification here, you could lose and keep playing for 2 or 3 weeks in a row? If you stay out of COVID and the teams that beat you get into COVID, that you could end up.
Well, then you could lose, and then, there could be a matchup somewhere else where the team that you're playing is the team that you're going to lose to, and then the team that you would play if you could get through them is the team you can beat. And so then the team that doesn't match up well with you, that's hoping that the team beats you, and then because of COVID, you have to play them.
From Drew, who follows us, he's at Vanguard now. Gotcha. He said, I'm at Vanguard, breaking down the TAP scenario. All 6-man teams are getting in regardless of division. 11-man, though, divisions 1 and 4, Riker and Central Texas Christian School, are unchanged divisions. 2 and 3 are all putting everyone in. So Riker may not be covered underneath. For both 6-man and 11-man divisions 2 and 3, it adds an extra round to make it 5 total rounds instead of 4, and moves the state championship games back 1 week to December the 18th.
Oh, Lord. God, I just can't. This is going to be great when this is all done. When we can just have a normal year again.
Yes.
Whenever that is.
Which feels like 2022 is the best shot.
What did you just say?
I mean, I think 2022 is the best shot.
You guys hate me.
No, I mean, I'm not. I'm just being realistic, Smokey. We're 2 months or 2.5 months away from 2021, and I don't know what's going to change.
No, I think it'll be a lot simpler next year.
Because we'll know.
We'll have ideas on how all this works. I'm not going to stress about taps or whatever and all that's going on. I mean, we'll figure. That's one of those, like, I sit here and puzzle myself over it, but until I actually see it in motion, then it really doesn't matter.
I just want them to start shooting movies again. I don't
care if they shoot any movie. I just want to see the Batman.
Exactly.
Just finish that one.
Get that one done.
And shut down Hollywood for all I care. But I want to see the Batman first.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, it's just I'm so over it all. But I mean, again, I'm not as stressed as I probably would have been, just because now I know that just weird stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about this for 6 months. I mean, what is new? Nothing. Mm-hmm. Nothing really at all.
Everything will be cleared up in the first week or 2 in November.
That's not true.
No,
that's not true at all. That's not true at all.
It'll be it either remains dark and cloudy, or the sunshine peeks through the clouds, depending on who you like.
I guess so.
Well, I don't think there's a lot of people chatting and talking that have ever seen sunshine before, so I don't know how much it's going to make a difference for some people.
That's a very good point. All right. 29 years ago today, in Killeen, Texas, tragedy struck at the Lubies.
God, this is a fun show. Jeez Louise, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead, I understand.
No, I'm trying to make sure I digest this. 22 people were killed within 12 minutes. A 23rd victim died of her injuries days later. George Hennard, 35-year-old from Belton, drove his pickup through a plate glass window at the restaurant on Central Texas Expressway, lunch hour traffic, National Bosses Day, and just, well, it's 29 years ago, the Killeen High School Kangaroos, who lost last night to Belton, won a state championship in what was out of nowhere. I mean, they're good. And I ended up doing that game in the quarterfinals with Lee when Killeen won the game like 20-14. And that was 29 years ago. It seemed like it was longer ago. I know that's a long time. That's 3 decades. But it just seemed like that's – because March seems like 5 years ago.
Yes. But Billy Spiller was the quarterback. We've had him on, right?
Yep. And his son, Trahan, I believe, is one of the young men, the receiver for Ellison, and a couple of others as well. But, it's crazy.
That was a horrific story. It was very well documented. You know, there were things covered all over TV, entertainment on that story. I think I've seen probably one or two different episodes on Court TV or whatever over the years, whatever channels are. I mean, the channels, whatever Court TV. Is Court TV still a thing? Is it still a thing even?
It's True TV.
Okay, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, whatever the channels are now, I've seen a couple on the Luby's massacre, and that was an awful, awful story, and certainly a scar that will never leave the town of Killeen. But there was, that positivity that was in store as well.
If you look up and down the Central Texas area of 35, or at least either way, you have had some of the biggest stories in the history of Texas. Fort Hood's had their shootings and unfortunate things that have happened. Gerald had the massive, this city was one time gone because of the tornado. Mm-hmm. We know what happened with the Branch Davidians in Malcolm.
Yeah.
And then, of course, other things that have occurred, whether it's anywhere. And then, of course, the Fort Hood Luby shooting. That was a and, back in 91, you had things that occurred, but now, it seemed like we have those way too often now. Once is too often. But I remember that and how that kind of galvanized that city, that area, Fort Hood, Killeen, Coppers Cove, etc. And they went on to win a state championship. All right, now, if Baylor gets to go back to practice on Monday, is that the 11th day? It's pretty close to it.
Yeah.
If they go back full throttle, and I say full throttle, if there's 12 players missing or 9 or 17, we don't know, or none.
Well, I can just tell you, not all of them are going to be back. Just based for Monday, based on the numbers they have. You would just think that there's going to be at least a couple guys.
What do you mean, Paul? They're not going to be 40-something players and 10 coaches coming back by Monday?
Yeah,
not likely.
No, so there's going to be people that aren't there still because they're still going to be sick.
If you go back, because they had more than just what was at West Virginia or the day after West Virginia, the Thursday after.
It's staggered, Yeah. And we don't know that they haven't had a couple more since then, really. Like that in the next couple days.
I believe there was at least one more player. I know that there might have been one more player, at least from one information I got from somebody I could absolutely know is reliable.
But since Monday, when we got the last numbers, we don't know there's not been there could have been a couple more.
It could have been 15 more.
Yeah.
Don't know.
So we don't know. We'll find out. But I think if they practice on Monday, then I think that we're probably good to see a game on Saturday. But if they don't practice on Monday, then I'm going to start sweating it.
Well, they shut down Oklahoma State on a Sunday evening, right? Mm. So you would think that to kind of you get through that Sunday evening timeline, you might have a game.
Yeah.
You might have a game. I'm not sure.
Perhaps.
That appears to be what it would be. And if you look at what this team has been through, this program, some of these guys, this is like, oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
But they have been through so much, and they're not the only one, and they won't be the only one, that I still wonder, is there eventually, no matter how tough they are, how grown up they are, no matter how mentally strong they are, no matter what Dave Aranda and before that Matt Rule have done, the coaching staff, is there a breaking point?
I think so. I think there's a tipping point for everybody, but I think that the fact that they'll get to play eventually and they get to play some games will probably ward that off.
What's a breaking point though? Like what does that mean? That they just go lose games? Or they're not going to crawl up in a ball and cry about it. I know that these guys have gone through all these things we've talked about for the last 3 years, and when a lot of other people turned and tucked tail and declared fandom of another team or threw away their season tickets or cried about this or cried about that or whatever.
Why would a breaking point have to be that it would be? That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah,
I don't think there will be.
I'm sure everybody has one. My point is, I'm sure everybody has one, but I don't think it,
Yeah, what I was trying to say was that, for a lot of people that want to go and, have a breaking point because it gets too hard, these guys have never had that. Throughout all the stuff that's gone on, they've never had a breaking point. This is not that big of a deal to them, I don't think. It's hard, and they'd rather be practicing and they'd rather be playing, but a breaking point would entail what? Giving up? We've never seen evidence that they do that anyways. We haven't seen any evidence of Baylor giving up since 2016. So I don't think that another delay, when it's the 5th or the 6th or the whatever, is going to really change too much of anything. I mean, it's there's nothing that they can really do about it.
You're in it now. I mean, you're in it. I mean, you just have to roll with it.
There's nothing to do. I mean, so that's what I'm saying is that you can just say, all right, well, we give up and let's not play football the rest of the year because we've had our 5th cancellation. Or you just keep going about it, and eventually you get to play a game, and that's the two choices they have.
I never meant give up. I meant that is there a point where you just get numb to it, where you're like, you lose focus?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably going to be hard to stop and start for everybody. Just in, you want all 85 guys or 100 guys, 85 scholarships, and all the walk-ons to be equally focused. I don't think that's attainable. Because you've got, everything's going to be, people are in and out too.
Because you have things happen even when there is no COVID.
Yeah, so this in and out. But if you can get maximum, whatever your maximum percentage of everybody all in is, if you can get close to that, I think you can win some games. And that's the thing. They're not going to win games if they can't practice and get better. I mean, if they have to have shorter practices.
Wait a minute, what did you say, practice and games? They don't have either,
yeah, both. But they're not going to win, they're not going to win any games if they have to practice 2 days a week. I mean, it just
and skip a week.
Yeah, they're just not going to win. Nobody can. Alabama wouldn't.
Well, the Titans did.
They won a game. They've won a game.
They look really good doing it against another pretty good team that has been playing.
Yeah, but they're not you take anybody into the kind of rhythm of not practicing. Eventually, you might play a bad team that you can beat without practicing all that much. Now, the Bills were a good team for the Titans, but you might play a bad team. But if you're Alabama and you don't practice for 2 weeks, and then you got to go play, they play Georgia this week, but if they had Georgia down the line, probably not going to win that game because Georgia's gotten to practice more.
I think what it proves, if they go out and they go to Austin and they win, and they've only practiced 3 times in 2 weeks, I think that we should allow the Players Union in college football, which they don't have one, should demand that they don't practice anymore.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's probably guys that hate practice that have never missed it so much in their life.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, the routine.
And that's what I was trying to say earlier on when you say breaking point. To me, that means something to me that it obviously doesn't mean to you because breaking point is it breaks, like the dam burst, something changes. Just becoming numb to it, that's just becoming desensitized to it. So could they become desensitized to it? I think they already had to have been desensitized to it, but it's not going to keep them from going out there trying to still go about their business because that's what they've been taught and trained to do every day the same way until they're told not to. And could that skew focus? Sure, but you're just not going to have razor-sharp focus this year, even if you were playing on a regular basis. They didn't have it last year, and that was about as focused of a team as you could find. But you still had games where they came out sometimes and just were la-di-da or whatever. So it's never going to be 100%, but it's going to be there and until they're told to not have any reason to focus anymore.
I've asked Dave Aranda that a couple of different times, and I've asked him how much more can one team take, and he has actually said, I've thought about that. Because of more of the letdowns, the disappointments than anything else.
You want to be competitive and you want to win games. They played 2 games. They dominated one of them, and they were competitive in the other one. They didn't play their best, but they and so we'll see. I wish it was against a team that wasn't as offensively prolific as Texas, but I also know that Texas is a bit of a dumpster fire at times. So.
Yeah. Would we be worried about them losing focus if they were 2-0?
I don't know. Yeah.
Probably not, right? Yeah. Probably not. So really we're just basing it off of a game 4 months ago, it feels like, in West Virginia where as badly as they played, they still should have won that game or could have won that game on multiple different occasions, including at the very end. So, I think it's just getting frustrating for people to be at a point now where it's dragged on so long, there's not even new things to discuss because – everything that needs to be discussed, we don't know if it's any different than it was 3 weeks ago because we haven't seen anything, and we've hardly heard anything. We haven't talked to players in 2 weeks. We've talked to Dave Aranda a couple of times in 2 weeks, and that's it. And then what do we talk to him about? So, Coach, your game got canceled again. Now what? It's the same answers that he had when Houston got canceled, the same answers he had when, La Tech was canceled, and And so, yeah, it's just almost like we're still at the starting point of this race. Even though it's technically started, it's weird. It's weird, but it's what we signed up for and what we knew was a possibility. So hopefully we have some new stuff to talk about as soon as this Monday.
Man,
I hope so.
I do too. I asked the question as well on the show earlier, and also about the Mulligan year. You know, we know that Tom Herman is under fire for more than just the fact. Well, the 2 losses allow the other heat to get hotter too. And so a couple of answers. BUSA. F95. I asked if there's a Mulligan year for every college coach. If yes or no, why? Unless they're in a contract year, it's too expensive to fire anyone in a current environment. That's one of the responses. And all the other ones were, unless you're Tom Herman.
Well, and look, if Tom Herman, I know that Texas has more money than anybody, but nobody loses $54 million and then just says, you know what, what's another 15? Let's throw on this.
I'll tell you right now, Tom Herman's the one in the driver's seat because I would be throwing middle fingers to the sky at Chris Del Conte and the president's office right now. Right now, I'd be doing that. You know why? I'd side with my players. Who's going to look worse on the Eyes of Texas thing? The big bad power brokers who are like, that song's racist, but you know what? You're going to stand for it anyways because that's what we expect Texas players to do. Or the players who, in this day and age especially, are sitting there going, no, wait a second. We don't feel comfortable with that. Who should Tom Herman side with? Tom Herman should side with what he believes is the right thing, first of all, but he should side with his players because at the end of this road, if Texas is using this and adding gasoline to it in an attempt to try to make an exit for him potentially easier at the end of the year, which, again, I don't think anybody will get fired, unlike because what we're talking about exactly, but if they are attempting, maybe they've talked to Urban or whatever, and they think at the end of this year, depending on what happens, they can make that move. Tom Herman's going to look way better in whatever scenario happens with the players at his back or him at the back of the players in support of one another versus siding with the administration who might can his ass in 6 months anyways, and especially over this certain matter. So if I'm Tom Herman, I'm all in with the players.
Well, that's what he's been, too.
Right.
You're right. Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. He can't lose his locker room. If he changed his mind now, what would be worse, losing your team when you're already under fire or having a headbutting contest with your administration?
Yeah, I mean, he has to.
But if, in fact, there were, not demands, but if, in fact, there were discussions, you're going to get your players to stand for the Eyes of Texas. It's up to the players then to do what they want to do. But if there was, and over and over and over again, and he repeatedly went and had the back of his players, there's a protocol here, even if we disagree with it.
Well, we need to know what the details were. Is he sitting there not saying anything about any mandate of saying, or is he telling them, knowing full well they're not going to respond to it? Okay, if he is telling them what Chris Del Conte ordered, like these other coaches apparently were, his players aren't listening to it. What's he supposed to do about it? You going to yell at him?
I understand, but there's a protocol. And, it's kind of like in the military. You may not like what your lieutenant colonel says, but if you don't, you're going to get court-martialed.
Right. What I'm saying is if he passes along the mandate, he's done his job. Now, the part of his job that's not done is forcing them to do that. You mean to tell me you're going to force those guys to do that?
You don't have to force them, but if you say, I need you guys...
That's what I'm saying. If he passes along the mandate, that's all he has to do. That's what he's apparently done. Now, past that, if they still don't want to do it, that's not Tom Herman's fault.
He could go to the administration and say, listen, I've told them. They're still walking the locker room.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, and he said, okay, and if I were him, I would do that. I'd say, okay, look, I told them at our team meeting, the administration expects you to stand for the Eyes of Texas, and just reads the memo. Then he's done his job, and then he can go to the administration. No. I'm just saying in a legal sense, he's done his job. He can go to them and say, okay, you saw the guys that walked in. Do what you want to do, and good luck with that. I mean, honestly, if Texas wanted to get into a pissing contest with the players over making them stand for that right now in 2020, good luck.
Yeah.
I mean,
he can say,
do you want to go through that PR storm?
Is it always going to be, but is it always going to be that you have to buckle to the pressure of the athletes?
No, but I mean, in this
or who disagrees with
or
something?
buckling to the man. I mean, that's the way you could look at it as well. I mean, this comes down to who are you as a person? Who are you when you look in the mirror? If you're Tom Herman and you think it's ridiculous that those players should be forced to stand in front of a song they don't want to stand in front of, then you as a person have to make a decision. You're going to go business, or are you going to go your entire future and your career and your reputation and any respect you might have at another job? I'm telling you right now, if I don't feel comfortable, hey, administration, I told them what you guys said. They're not listening. That's all I can do. And if you want to make me look bad, guess who's actually going to look bad? The school's going to look bad. The school is going to look bad.
UT is so worried about what people think of them.
A lot of people are,
and
that's
just like Baylor was during the scandal.
Yeah.
They were more worried about what people were saying about them than figuring out what the truth was.
Yeah. And I understand that like in the grand fight for racial injustice, the tune of a song is probably small potatoes, but to these players, it means something. And to Tom, like in his little world.
You think that every single player that doesn't want to stand for the eyes of Texas at the end of the game, how many of them believe in the fact they shouldn't have to stay, and how many of them are doing it because others are walking away?
I don't want to get into. I could never
say that. Who the heck knows? I would never say for sure.
I just know that like.
Why did you look at me like I was about to say something that might cost me my job? It looked like you, but I mean seriously.
No,
because I think wasn't thinking that anyways, but because you're asking a question that I can't possibly answer. I'm not going to speculate on what a player believes, especially if we're talking about a black player and how they might feel about that song. That song, I'm indifferent to it because it's not something that I would feel offended by as a white person per se, but I'm offended by it as a human being if other people feel that way. Like, it's not something I've delved into my feelings on that song because it's not affecting me selfishly. But for those guys, I'm not going to even pretend to know what their feelings are like and speculate on how many are doing it for show or how many are doing it. I couldn't even begin to wonder that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but the fact of the matter is that whatever percentage of players are doing that, Tom Herman's, that in his little world, that's important.
It might save him his job.
I mean, the money's going to save him his job.
All right, when we come back, former Cowboys and also Raiders offensive lineman Kevin Gogan on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-through open and convenient and clean in-store location, corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street. They have the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections you can find. Great big walk-in refrigerator. You can go and see that. Look on their website. There's like 25 lines or something like that of different beers. Now, obviously, some of them are seasonal, but, man, they rotate them through whenever they are. I mean, there's just a great selection and rotation of all that. They've also got Balcones in stock. Lineage is the newest one. They've got that. Baby Blue, French Oak, Rye, Brimstone. I like the Rumble. They always have that. That's delicious. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family owned and operated, a hidden gem in Waco, Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Employee pricing is back at Allen Samuels, exclusively on the king of minivans, the new 2020 Chrysler Pacifica. Get employee pricing plus financing as low as 0% or employee pricing and up to $4,250 in cash. You get Pacifica loaded up with style, comfort, and options all in one gorgeous minivan. Employee pricing with special financing or cash. Choices are always great at your friend in the car business, Allen Samuels.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott at edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel & Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel & Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel & Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine. Best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, we're trying to track down Kevin Gogan. We've had a couple of times with guys on the West Coast, Pacific time. Focus in on 5:30 here, 3:30 West Coast. Kevin Gogan, former Cowboys offensive lineman, played with the Raiders. Great guy, great personality, part of those great teams. And then, of course, he took advantage of it, went free agent, and had a big contract. He and Giesick, Raiders and others, moved on. And so right now, not able to get in touch with him. Here's a couple of notes that, how about this for a slap in the face? Kansas was a 23-point favorite. Les Miles, they make the announcement he's not going to be able to be there for their game, and now it's 21.5. So they went from a 23-point favorite. They announced Les Miles can't be a part of the game, and their odds got better.
There's no way Kansas was a favorite.
No, I mean underdog.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they went.
So they were a 23-point underdog. He can't coach, and now they're only a 21.5-point underdog.
I don't know. I don't know how that Vegas stuff like that much of a minor shift really does. Maybe people think that he's healthy enough to technically return, I suppose, if like they really wanted to try and do that. That he'll at least have more input. He'll have the whole setup. Like who was it? Hugh Freeze or something like that. We've seen coaches get creative. I mean, Saban even said if he couldn't coach this weekend that he would basically be available via Zoom or something like that to chime in, I guess. I don't know. But, that's
got 20 minutes at halftime. They just put him up on
put him
up on a big screen. He's like, all right, listen, you do this. I'm tired of this. Don't jump off sides anymore.
He cannot have any contact.
No, if he was on Zoom, they put him on a screen.
Yeah.
And he's like, here's what I've seen.
SMU and Tulane have kicked off. It's an early game, tied at 7 in the first quarter, midway through it. Again, Houston tonight in their game against Brigham Young. Coastal Carolina won earlier this week. I saw where Arkansas State won on a double reverse flea flicker pass. A double reverse flea flicker pass. And then this came out. It was like 50-something. Arkansas State head coach Blake Anderson announced today that defensive coordinator David Duggan, defensive pass games coordinator Ed Pinkham have been relieved of their coaching duties. Man.
Must have been pretty bad defense.
Both in their second year, and both now are out.
Well, I wonder what the story is behind that. I don't follow that program very closely, obviously, but to make a move right now is kind of odd, to say the least.
I'm 0 for 5 on Kevin Goat.
59-52, they beat Georgia State. And the day after, 2 defensive coaches have been relieved of their duty. They gave up 583 yards of offense. Arkansas State threw for 551. 3 different quarterbacks threw 57 passes. Rashad Paul, 1 for 1, a 22-yard touchdown throw. How about that?
Yeah.
To Lincoln Pear. All right, good for him. Former Bremond star that went to A&M for a short time. Good for Rashad. Well, I always liked that guy. He and Trayon Smith, a couple of those.
Yeah, Rashad Paul. I thought he might work in Jimbo's scheme a little bit, but I'm sure right now they could use him. I mean, they've lost all their best wide receivers.
Yeah, no, you're right. He just never could.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be. I thought he'd be a pretty good even punt returner.
You never know with a small school guy like that, though. Because they can be great athletes. I thought he was going to be a great athlete, but then you look at who he's brought in with, and it's like as good of an athlete as he was at Bremond, he's all of a sudden stacked up with 10 other Rashad Pauls who did it at the 5A level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, there's a bit of a difference.
Yeah, he's never played a game against guys that he practices with.
Right.
He just never has, and. So that's the jump you have.
He maybe saw like 1 or 2 other Rashad Paul types in a game, but not every week.
And not 11 guys on the other side of the ball.
Not more than a couple, if even a couple. So, he's just a class athlete and obviously a heck of a football player, but you're not only making a jump to college where everybody was a standout on their team that you're going to be competing with, but in many cases at higher levels against way better competition. I mean, you can be Rashad Paul standout 2A Texas MVP, but are you as good as 5A Louisiana, New Orleans product? Probably not. So that is not all the way surprising that he ended up having to make a move, but it looks like it's working out for him.
Yeah, I mean, he scored a touchdown against Kansas State, I know. And I mean, he's playing away, fits in well. Blake Anderson did a great job there at Arkansas State. He's doing a great job.
Don Hyde just sent me this text. They've had that game. That Brownwood game was canceled because of COVID. Then they moved it back to later, early in this November. It still won't count as a district game. Brownwood has to forfeit that game. They have revamped their schedule. They don't have a game for this week. They're going to play on the 23rd at Heritage in Midlothian. The 28th, which is a quicker turnaround, they'll play at Alvarado, and then the game on 11-2 against Brownwood. So they're going to kind of condense the schedule. And that's District 5 4A, Division 1. So that's from Don Hyde. Has anyone had to maneuver his schedule more than La Vega?
No. And the fact I'm glad he's getting games, though,
Well, these are games that are in the district, so it's not like these are new. But
that he's able to make it up, and it's all about being in a rhythm. You want to be in a rhythm.
And I think if they were actually going to play Conley twice. Mm-hmm. That was the original plan. just so they could get a couple of games in. And then there was always the opportunity. Then Conley ended up getting Sunnyvale, among others. But if you look at La Vega's schedule now, they're 5-1, including the most recent win against Stephenville. So they're going to still get in 8 games. It looks like they'll get in 8 games because the game with Brownwood will be made up. And at one point, he had to bring in Calhoun was a new opponent, Cal Allen was a new opponent, and eventually they did play Conley, and eventually they knew they were going to play Argyle. That is bizarre, man. They're having to just piece it all together. You could have this year, when we get to the mid part of November for the playoffs, someone who's like 1-4 against someone that's 9-0. Or a team that's 4-0 against a team that's 5-5 because of the number of games that you either play or you don't play as well. Paul, let's take a break right here. Unless Kevin Gogan looks like it's going to be kicked down the road. We're live in Gerald at Cougar Stadium, 7 o'clock pregame on 106.7 FM The Eagle, and also on Sikkim 365 Radio, the app, and online, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, and Alexa. You can get all of that and us on all of those particular outlets. We'll have the 7 o'clock pregame, 7:30 kick, Conley against Gerald. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
I've not gotten a chance to talk to the guys at Brotherwell Brewing this week, but good news from the state on their end, in that bars and breweries and places like that can open up at 50% coming here soon, which means that you'll be able to go and hang out in the beer garden there. It's a great location right down from where our studios are. We're on Elm Street. They're on Bridge Street. They're at 400 East Bridge Street in Waco. And it's a great place where you can go. They have the East Side Market every third Sunday, music shows, public art projects, tons of stuff that they've done there. Open for 2.5 years at the Bridge Street location. And their goal is to bring craft beer that's made in Waco to the people of Waco, so people can enjoy beer that maybe they wouldn't have had before. There's a lot of people who haven't experienced the breadth of craft beer. A lot of times people come to Brotherwell Brewing and say, I'm not a beer fan, but I do like this, and that's what they do. And they've got lots of great beers like the Act of Faith, which is a Belgian-style triple, the Shelter and Haze, which is a hazy IPA, Low Earth Orbit, classic Pilsner style, that's light, brightly carbonated and brewed with German Pilsner malt. The Hidden Herd was an amber lager with a clean finish of lager and a fairly malty body. And that's what I had the other night during the fantasy football show. So check out Brotherwell Brewing. It's fantastic. If you're a craft beer fan, believe me, you want to try it out and support local breweries like Brotherwell Brewing. Find out more information at brotherwell.com.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Don's Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Arturo Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don's Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio poll is brought to you by Pickup Outfitters, where everything purchased and installed comes with our famous lifetime installation guarantee and free warranty assistance. 220 Lake Air Drive or createacommotion.com.
All right, back 5:45. Well, we've pushed Kevin Gogan back. I was so interested in asking him about Aikman's dislocated finger. I've kept this, like hermetically sealed after we got the story earlier this week about what he did with, who was it on the air? Who was the one that told us? Mickey. About Kevin Gogan trying to take Aikman's finger that was going sideways and try to fix it. All right. Astros, no score. They're in the bottom of the second. Astros have a base hit. That's it. Rays come up in the bottom of the second. I would think one of the things the Astros have done in the last two games is they've gotten on. Now, they also blew leads in like the game 3, or they blew a 5-2 lead, didn't they?
Yeah.
They've jumped on Springer home run early, Altuve home run early. They have not done that, at least tonight. It's still early, but that's what they've been doing as well. It's kind of like you wonder if when they do that, it puts immediate pressure on the Rays.
Yeah, and I mean, like Blake Snell pitching tonight that's very fortuitous for the Rays to have a Cy Young winner going when which is an elimination game for the other team. So I find myself in the strange position of leaning Rays here because I just don't want to hear it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm in no way, like I said earlier, rooting for the Astros, but am I going to be disappointed if they were to win tonight? No. I mean, even if they were to win the next two, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But if the Rays are going to do it, it's got to be tonight.
Yeah.
I just don't foresee blowing a 3-0 lead, having it tied up 3-3, and then all of a sudden you're gonna get your mojo back. No, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it with Snell on the mound, you would think.
Yeah.
And that gives you your best chance, and you better go ahead and close it out because you have gone from having all the momentum to kind of splitting it up now. You lose tonight, all that momentum squarely in Houston.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're going to have none of it remaining.
I would say the same thing for the Braves. Go ahead and win it tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead and win it tonight. I know you've got a little more wiggle room than the Astros do, but or the Rays do. But yeah, go ahead and win it tonight, Rays.
What is it with the three teams that I probably dislike the most? Never being able to enjoy when they're down a lot.
Well, I mean, what teams would those be?
Astros, Texas, and the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, the Cowboys, I mean, the Cowboys are set on this, when God inspired, Tex Schramm to do the Cowboys, I think the mission was to make everyone either deliriously happy or deliriously mad all the time.
Yeah, I don't know how the Cowboys have been up. I mean, for 20 years, you've had the opportunity, 25 years, you've had the opportunity to basically, if you don't like the Cowboys, point and laugh at their lack of Super Bowls. Now they can flash their 5 fingers of rings, but others have since surpassed that mark, or have tied it. Even a team like the Patriots, who had 0 before the Cowboys had their last one, but now can match that. So, I mean, with the Cowboys, you've had 25 years to kind of point and laugh, quite frankly, outside of a playoff run here and there. The Astros' success is mostly recent, other than the trip with Bagwell and Biggio many years ago. But outside of that, not really anything to speak of.
Although I will tell you, just for an adrenaline rush, I will trade the stress I had every week in the NFC East in the early 90s as a fan, knowing that like the Giants any game could go any way, than this nonsense where I'm so indifferent to even watch the other teams.
Yeah.
Like if the Redskins and Eagles are going to play, the Washington football team, the Eagles are going to play, I mean,
unless you're a fan of those teams, who cares?
Yeah, but if I'm not a fan of those teams, I'm probably going to flip over and watch it. And I have the Sunday ticket. I watch all the games that I can, but that's one I'll just be like, nah, no. Giants and Eagles.
But when the Redskins were good and the Cowboys started to fade, I would watch the Cowboys.
No, I mean, like, what I'm saying is now, like, I would always watch, like, the division. Like, even if some teams are up and down, like, the division was always good. This year, the division is so bad. I mean, am I going to turn on the Giants and Eagles in a couple weeks?
Redskins play the Giants this week.
Yeah, I'm not going to turn that game on. Why would I turn it on?
No, I don't. I won't turn it on.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
And I love them.
To watch Kyle Allen versus Daniel Jones in a tickle fight?
It's just,
I mean,
it's awful. They're wasting great defensive youth. Mm-hmm. They're wasting really good young players on defense because the offense is so putrid. They're wasting really, really good players on defense.
You know what's funny is the Cowboys are probably wasting really, really good young players on offense because the defense is so
putrid. There's an update
putrid.
on COVID. Missouri, who had their game this week with Vanderbilt canceled, right, or changed. Now they've been told their game with Florida will be moved backwards. They're supposed to play the Gators not this week, but next. They will instead host Kentucky on the 24th rather than on Halloween night, and then they'll play Florida on the road on Halloween.
Well, that December 12th weekend when Baylor and Oklahoma State are going to play now, that's going to be a chock-full weekend probably once all the cancellations start to get gathered up. I mean, we already know that's going to be Florida LSU as well.
Yep.
That's going to be Vanderbilt in Missouri or whatever.
Hey, let's go ahead, conferences, and just announce that the conference championship will be played at a time
December 19th.
To be determined. It might not even be, but it'll be played December 19th.
Yeah, they'll have to cut it off at some point. Now, that does create a problem potentially with the state championship games at AT&T Stadium. But I know they've already said maybe they play at the ballpark in Arlington or Globe Life Field.
And I've seen a couple of football games there, and it looks like it's fine.
But, yeah, so I think they've already got their answer for that if it comes to it. But, yeah, I'd be leaning more towards the December 19th Big 12 title game, regardless of whether I think that means that Oklahoma State or Baylor are in contention or not. I just think that's the way it's probably going to work out. We'll see, though. But there will be a lot of games on the December 12th. And, you know, I wrote an article on Sikkim just a couple of days. I think it's out today. But, you know, there were a lot of Oklahoma State fans laughing on Monday or like forfeit the game and blah, blah, blah. And since then, we've just had cancellation. Saban's positive. You know, Ole Miss is in trouble. And just kind of outlining how, you know, this is an everybody thing. This isn't a point and laugh because, you know what, Stillwater, you better pray. Better thank your lucky stars you haven't had a bad bite just yet, but you could get it at any time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I saw that, Craig. It's up on the Sikkim 365 in the premium section. In fact, if you go to Sikkim 365 Premium Insider, and we're live, the app is free. Everything is free. You can listen to us or watch us anywhere, but you have the Fro. Facts, Rumors, Opinions. It's written by staff. Craig's article, the week of October 12th, Recruiting with Grayson. That's up there. Of course, Sam, S11, Snapshot, Big 12 through 4 games. I always put up our guest lineup. Trust the podcast with Craig and Grayson. Men's basketball recruiting thread with the athletes always updating. Paul normally has a column, and then there's also the gray area with Grayson, ranking moves plus the early 2022 class breakdown.
By the way, I'll have one on Tom Herman tomorrow. After Football Bob finally agreed with me that, yes, giving the ball to the running backs would be better for Texas. And Sam kind of did too.
And here's the story that is like completely what 2020 is all about. You're the one that brought this up. Silvio De Sousa, star
guy.
player with Kansas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big-time recruit, right?
The reason that they're in trouble. The exact reason that they're in trouble.
So he's one that somehow received things he shouldn't have been getting.
Yeah.
Well, he's one of many at Kansas,
Yeah.
quite frankly, but one
But
that
he was
got
the one that got
targeted.
caught.
Yeah.
He's the one that got him in trouble, or
Yeah.
he's one of them. Okay, he also was the one that picked up the chair. Is he not in the brawl with
Yes,
somebody?
with Kansas State.
Okay. He is now on the verge of the season and practices beginning, opting out.
Yes.
So he's put him through all of this crap for almost 2 or 3
And look,
years.
it's his personal right to opt out. But I've already heard from a couple of my friends who are Kansas fans today, and they are none.
Kyle Cornish?
Yeah. Cornish just sent me a picture of him in the middle finger emoji.
Like the UT girl.
Yeah. So, like, it's just.
Have they identified her? I thought she'd be a
No,
lot
I got to
more
look at
famous
Nicole
by now.
Arbach. Nicole Arbach was trying to find her. But, you know, it had to be a YouTube girl. And like, here she is in this cute little top. And Nicole Arbach, like somebody said that, well, that's a cute top. And I think I brought this up already. She said, no, tell her that. I need to make sure she feels comfortable. Like, so,
Yeah, but like if I'm Bill Self, I'm just wondering if it's all worth it. Like what
I mean, clearly he thinks so. You know what I mean? Because he keeps on plowing through, and one issue turns into another issue, and the whole time the NCAA is just riding them. But I mean, it is funny, and you know that they went to those extremes, those lengths to vouch for this guy, and now he's not even going to be around.
To the NCAA, like they're trying to bow up to the NCAA about it, and now he's not going to play. Like, I get that you don't want to get COVID, buddy.
Few
But
fans have already said that he needs to go to the WWE with his chair swing. If you remember that,
yeah,
where he,
yeah.
But I don't think he would.
Here's
be that great
another
as a
one more.
wrestler.
I know we're about out of time. This is from Ben Ogletree on the question about is there a coach? Is this Mulligan year? Agree. UT is already tired of Herman. He's not the man to get them there. Team disunity has nothing to do with COVID. Everyone else probably just too much is out there to control. Cancel games, lack of whatever. So he's basically agreeing that it's kind of a COVID mulligan in some ways. But we just saw 2 defensive coordinators fired today.
Well,
because they gave up 52 points yesterday.
But I bet you their buyouts are pretty low.
That's why I'm asking, though, like the Arkansas State thing, like they must be incredibly low buyouts because otherwise, that is such a regular season move, though. But it's just weird to see it right now.
If I was a university president and an athletic director, and I had to tell a guy who makes $50,000 a year that you can't come back because we've lost all this money, and then I'm going to turn around and say, there's another guy who's not coming back either, but we're going to pay him $16 million. I couldn't live with myself.
There are egos, though, in every booster group.
I know, but like it would
write that like it was a check to get 4 tacos at Taco Bell.
I would think so. But again, if I'm the athletic
Can
director,
you write a check at Taco Bell?
You know what? If I was the athletic director, I would say, like, hey, if you're going to write me that check, why not? Well, can I keep? How many of these people can you help me keep on?
Yeah, that we've also laid off, furloughed, or
we've
taken
laid
pay
off.
cuts.
Like,
yeah.
please let me. If you're so pissed at Tom Herman, how about you help out these people who are just trying to keep it?
How about you shut up and let us do our job?
Yeah.
And you know what? We're all wrong here the way we've handled this thing with whatever.
Yeah.
1-0 Rays. Adames had a base hit.
I did want to pass along this college football note as well. The Southeastern Conference has fined Ole Miss, A&M, and Tennessee for not adhering to COVID protocols. This was something that was debated about talked about a little bit yesterday as a possibility, but Sankey sent memos warning of a $100,000 reduction in conference revenue for noncompliance. There's no word on if the full $100K was administered, or if it's like maybe $25K or $50. But regardless, they got hit with a little bit. They'll shrug that off. But still, it's not something you want to keep biting at you in a year where you're not making a ton of money either. So at least they're kind of keeping it in check. And A&M is kind of I'm not saying they're the cause, but they're kind of wrapped up right there in the middle of this entire outbreak that occurred with who's come and gone and played against them. So
Yeah,
far.
there's you talk about contact tracing.
And surprisingly enough, nothing from them.
Well, what about West Virginia?
Yeah, I mean,
same thing. Well, 1-0 Rays. Adames lines with a 2-out double. Lau scored 1-0 with Tampa Bay batting in the bottom of the second inning in Game 6. Astros have to win to force the deciding Game 7. All right, thanks to all of our guests today on the show. We appreciate everybody. We'll try to retrack down Kevin Gogan, and we will. Also today, thanks to Scott Stewart from Temple, Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, Frank Ditta. Once we get that up, if you didn't hear it, if you're a Baylor fan or a Life fan, listen to Frank Ditta talk about being brought back from the dead, honestly, earlier this year, maybe twice. Grayson Grundhoefer, Belton's Brent Sniffen, also Toby Foran of Shoemaker, and Tyler Holcomb, head coach at Riker. For Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, we will be back at 7 o'clock with Conley and also Gerald pregame, back on the air in the studio Monday at 3. For everyone I've mentioned, thank you for listening whenever you do, however long it might be. And for now, good night from Gerald, Texas.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trust, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sikkim 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543. A group of over 30 physicians in Central Texas became frustrated seeing patients fail at losing weight themselves. They opened Muscle-Wise Nutrition. We've seen too many patients suffer from complications of obesity. Patients who have tried countless do-it-yourself diets, which often results in 25% of the weight they lose coming from muscle breakdown and muscle loss. We needed another approach, so we opened Muscle-Wise Nutrition. This is a coach-managed diet program to lose substantial weight, targeting fat while sparing muscle. Dieters are seen weekly by a coach who performs detailed body composition analysis. Please email us at Sikkim365 at MuscleWiseNutrition.com, and one of our coaches will contact you promptly to get you set up for our free educational seminars. Lose weight by losing fat and sparing muscle. Start MuscleWise today. Contact us at Sikkim365 at MuscleWiseNutrition.com.